Hey guys, it's Megan, and in today's video, I'll be showing you 4 more things that you can make with beads that are not jewelry. This is basically a series at this point. I'll make sure to link the other videos down below. But before we jump into it, I wanted to quickly thank today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring and creative classes. They have classes on all sorts of topics, like photography, graphic design, illustration, and more. I just took a class called Animate on Footage, using Procreate on the iPad and iPhone by Obi Vision. I've used Procreate to animate before, but this was a great way to refresh my memory and to learn some new techniques. I have this idea for a new intro that I want to do, and after taking this class, I am a lot more confident that I'll be able to pull it off. I made the animation that you saw in the intro to practice. The first 1,000 people to sign up through my link in the description will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and without further ado, let's just get into it. The first project that I made this week were these bead pens. For this one, I used a pen, beads, scissors, and some of this waxed cotton cord that I had left over from my Pura Vida bracelet video. If you're using the same type of string that I did, go ahead and use a lighter to melt the end of the string so it doesn't fray. If you're not comfortable using a lighter, you can also use clear nail polish. The only problem with that is that you have to wait for it to dry. Next, string on your beads. You can use as many beads as you want, as long as it doesn't end up being longer than your pen. I use 6 of these star-shaped beads. So here I'm measuring so that I have some extra string that's about as long as my pen. Line the string up with your pen like this, and tie a knot at the bottom. I guess it probably would have been easier to tie a knot before I added the beads, but, we made it work. Move the beads off to the side. Then, hold the end of the string that has your beads on it up against your pen like this. Then take the other end of the string and start wrapping it around the pen, making sure that you go over the loose end of the string. Which, by the way, I didn't really cut this off of the ball of string. It's just the other end. You can't see it, it's out of the frame, but it's just the whole big ball of string. But when you're ready to add the first bead, start wrapping your string underneath that tail that we put the beads on. So instead of going over that loose end, we're going to be going under it. I found that it was easiest to hold the main ball of string over on the left when I was wrapping it over, and on the right when I was wrapping it under the tail. When you think you have enough, go ahead and slide on your bead. To make sure that the bead stays in place, we're going to pull the tail tight, then start wrapping it over again to hold it in place. How many times that you wrap it will depend on how much space that you want in between your beads. I only wrapped it over 3 times. Then I went back to wrapping it under the tail so that it was about the size of my second bead. Again, I slid on the bead, then wrapped the string over the tail 3 times to secure it. Go ahead and repeat this process the whole way up your pen, wrapping the string under the tail, adding a bead, then over it a few times to secure it. When you reach the top of the pen, cut the working string, then tie it in a knot to secure it. Tie the loose end of the knot with the loose end of the tail from earlier. I know that this kind of sounds like a little bit confusing when I say it, but hopefully you can sort of see what I'm doing. To finish the pen, I cut off the excess string, then secured the ends with a lighter. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit concerned about melting the pen or the beads or catching something on fire. I've said this before, every time I use a lighter, I always feel like I'm gonna have to stop, drop, and roll, but we were alright. Honestly, maybe go with the nail polish on this one. But here's how my finished pen turned out. I also made a purple one using some of these butterfly beads that I got from Hobby Lobby. I used to be super into making DIY school supplies when I was in school. Obviously, it's very early for that. I mean, most people are just getting done with school for the year, but I think these would be really fun to make for next year. Another way you can use beads is to make gibbets for your Crocs. I made a whole video on how to make DIY gibbets last year with a whole bunch of different techniques. But this is a great way to use up any larger beads that you might have, like these smiley face ones that I got from Hobby Lobby. I got these Croc flip-flops last year, and I really like making matching sets of gibbets to put in the holes. There are 7 holes on each shoe, which worked out perfect because there's 7 colors of smiley faces. So I picked out 2 of each color, and I used UV resin to attach the Croc charms to the back. I said this in the other video, normally I would try to do some sort of DIY for the back part, but honestly, it's just cheaper and easier to buy the real thing. They were $10 for 300 of them on Amazon. I'll make sure to link them below. You're going to want to glue the smaller end of the gibbet back onto the bead. In the original video, I used E6000 glue to put the backs on. And honestly, I would not really recommend that because a couple of them kind of fell apart. So UV resin is definitely the way to go. I cured them under my UV lamp, and here's how my finished gibbets turned out. I also made one using seed beads. I used some 2mm seed beads and some 26 gauge wire to make one of those beaded lizards. I attached that to my gibbets back with some UV resin. These take way longer, but look at him, he's so cute. The third idea is to use beads to make a headphone strap. I saw this somewhere and I thought this was genius. All you need is some of these eyeglass holders, some non-stretchy string, and some beads. I used some mini pony beads and these random gold beads that my aunt gave me. This is seriously so easy. First, cut a piece of string that's around 26 inches long. You can make this as long or as short as you want. Just make sure to leave a little extra at the end to tie knots. Tie one of the eyeglass holders to the end of your string with a double knot. I wrapped a piece of tape around the other end so it would be easier to string on my beads. Then I taped down the end with the eyeglass holder to my table. Again, this will just make it easier when you're stringing on your beads. Originally, I was going to make it sort of mismatched with no specific pattern, but I really did not love how it was turning out, so I scrapped that and I ended up just making a pattern with some beads that were all the same size. I wanted to use green beads to sort of match these AirPod knockoffs that I got from Target, but I remember when AirPods first came out, I was sitting next to this guy on a plane and he was like, really freaking out because he lost one of his AirPods, and that was the moment that I decided that there is no way that I'm spending that kind of money on something that I'm just gonna lose anyways. So if you're gonna fall asleep on a plane with your AirPods in, this might be a good option. When I got to the end of my string, I tied on another one of those eyeglass holders with a double knot. I cut off the excess string and secured the knots with some UV resin to make sure that they wouldn't come undone. You just slip your headphones in, tighten it, and here's how the finished project turned out. Of course, you can make your string a little bit longer and use these to hold sunglasses as well. Another thing you can make with beads is a purse strap. My aunt gave me this vintage Dooney and Burke bag a few years ago, and I love it. I think it's so pretty. It has this like little rainbow zipper. It definitely fits the whole Y2K aesthetic. But you see, the problem is, as we've established, I kind of tend to lose everything. So these tiny handles, they are not cutting it. I wanted to see if there was a way to make this bag a little bit more functional for my life without actually altering the bag. So I picked up some of these swivel round hinge clasps from Hobby Lobby. I also used some non-stretchy string, some more of those mini pony beads, and some more gold beads. Cut the string to whatever length that you want, and tie it to the clasp with a double knot. I didn't really use exact measurements, I just kind of eyeballed how long I wanted it to be. I did a slightly different pattern than I did for the headphones, using some off-white beads, pink beads, and a few gold ones to match the hardware on the bag. I did a little research, and I found this ad with Lindsay Lohan in it with like this same bag except for it's in black, and it says that this was from around 2004. You know, I saw her in a commercial like a couple months ago, and she looks great, like we love to see it. I'm actually kind of excited to see some of the early 2000s trends coming back. I mean, for the most part. Some of it, like low-rise jeans, you will not be catching me wearing low-rise jeans anytime soon. Or, you know what else? Like dresses or skirts over jeans. No, I would not be doing that either. Honestly, if I never have to wear jeans again, I can die happy. Let me know if there's any trends that, like, you don't want to come back. But once I had all my beads on there, I just tied another clasp to the end, cut off the excess string, and secured the knots with some UV resin. You definitely want to make sure that these knots are secure because if this breaks, that would not be a good situation. But here's how my finished purse strap turned out. Honestly, I don't really know how to feel about this. There's not really a good place to attach it. Maybe if I made two of them and put one on each handle, it would look a little bit better. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. So that was everything for this video. Make sure to let me know which project was your favorite. Again, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check them out using the link below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. A huge thank you to my patrons whose names are on the screen right now. My merch, my website, and all my social media will be linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!